Ma'am, you want to know who was targeted by a weaponized FBI? Me. You want to know how and why?
Well,
you want to know what I'm doing to fix it?
Let me move on.
Well, you should read the book because there's no enemies list on that book.
Should we worry more about your memory or your veracity?
We should worry more about your lack of candor. You're accusing me of committing perjury. Tell the American people how I broke the law and committed a felony.
Everybody was involved. Oh, look at that. USAID right there. Oh, yeah, there's that money, baby. Kash Patel unloads on a Democrat who is suddenly under fear of attack from the FBI. She, of course, led the impeachment efforts against President Trump in one of the impeachment attempts. And now, since she's lost control of the lawfare operation that was conducted by the FBI and the DOJ, she apparently is freaked out. She's got to lace into Kash Patel, who is in front of Congress today testifying, and he didn't take it for a minute. Here's what it sounded like.
Agency. I was an impeachment manager for President Trump's second impeachment. It was a sad, solemn duty. And so I wanted to ask you about that. Mr. Patel, as you and the president continue to weaponize and investigate his perceived enemies, as you follow this blueprint, when can I, a former impeachment manager, expect the FBI at my door?
Ma'am, you want to know who was targeted by a weaponized FBI? Me. You want to know how and why?
Well,
you want to know what I'm doing to fix it?
Let me move on.
Well, you should read the book because there's no enemies list on that book. There are people that violated their constitutional obligations and their duties to the American people, and they were rightly called out. And you should give that book to every one of your constituents so they can read about it.
I won't be doing that.
That's their loss.
During your Senate confirmation hearings, you repeatedly denied having any involvement as a private citizen in the firing of FBI officials who engaged in the prosecution against January 6th insurrectionists, the violent rioters who beat and killed Capitol police officers.
What? That is a lie. What is the name of the officer that they killed? Are you going to say it was Brian Sicknick, you lying representative from Pennsylvania? Because even the Capitol Hill police said he died of natural causes. It's on their website. She's a liar. Straight up. Is she going to say it was the suicides of the other Capitol police who died after the event? No Capitol 6 cop was killed on January 6th. And the lie about Brian Sicknick was a lie. He died the next day of natural causes. The coroner said the same. She's shameful.
And whom you referred to as political prisoners. Since then, multiple whistleblowers have come forward, and we know that you likely committed perjury. At the same hearing, you claimed you were not familiar with Stu Peters, an anti-Semitic Holocaust denier, despite the fact that you appeared on Mr. Peters' podcast 8 separate times.
What's up,
8
Stu?
times, and you claimed not to recall. Mr. Patel, my second question is, should we worry more about your memory or your veracity?
We should worry more about your lack of candor. You're accusing me of committing perjury. Tell the American people how I broke the law and committed a felony. Have the audacity to actually put the facts forward instead of lying for political banter so you can have a 20-second donation hit.
The answer is both.
Yeah.
I believe that
The answer is you're failing, not me.
Play my time.
Go ahead.
Oh, what's wrong?
Mr. Patel, I believe that the members of the FBI, and I know many of them, many retired, 38,000 people, as you say, it's a little less than that now, deserve the very best, deserve extraordinary independence, deserve freedom from the fears of being investigated, the freedom of coming forward to make sure they're doing their job.
Okay, she's a liar. Our entire country deserves better than her. Representative Madeline Dean is still creating and promulgating that hoax that Capitol cops were killed on January 6th. She is a liar through and through. And if she's not lying through her teeth on this, which I think she is, then she's a moron who is not somebody who properly investigated the facts of the so-called attack on the Capitol, and she should resign because she's incompetent. So she's either a liar or incompetent. Either one is not good for Pennsylvania, but we think she's a liar. Now, what we're also noticing is that Democrat and the people like her who are part of the impeachment efforts, they weaponize the FBI and the DOJ to levels that we've never seen before. And Just the News reported this, said that the Biden memo let feds target Americans for non-criminal behavior. So you don't even break the law. Now you're under scrutiny. We already saw this. Homegrown domestic violent extremism and religious motivated violent, all of the different extremisms, which they created to come and attack you, calling us all disinformationists and conspiracy theorists for daring to question their governance from on high, saying the stunning breadth of the mandate was disclosed when Tulsi Gabbard recently released the full unredacted version of this document. It's called Strategic Implementation Plan for Countering Domestic Terrorism. The June memo exposed for the first time the intelligence and law enforcement framework that led the FBI to monitor and probe conservative Catholics and parents at the schools. The directives gave to the DOJ and the FBI the drive and executive action to ban assault weapons, to rein in ghost guns, and all the things. And And this was their predicate. And we talked about this, like every new quarter, there was a new software update. We're rolling out a new DVE we're working on this time. Hey, new edition, new edition. And it was a total scam. It was really just to marginalize and attack all of their political opponents, many of whom were you and me. Strategic implementation plan for countering domestic terrorism. Here's what it says. This plan that's approved by the deputies coming out from Joe Biden and Lisa Monaco and Chris Wray and all of those hack individuals provides direction and guidance for the implementation to counter terrorism and gives you the appropriate elements and reaffirms the 4 pillars of our strategy to address the rule of law and American values. Throwaway paragraph. Great. So here they say what we're going to do: produce on a regular basis analytic products that focus on transnational aspects and other threats. We're going to measure performance of our efforts. We're going to share information, and we're going to illuminate all of the domestic terrorism that we're rooting out across the agencies and bring it front and center. How can we identify the financial activity associated with domestic terrorism, right? Everybody became a domestic terrorist all of a sudden, and everybody was involved. Oh, look at that. USAID right there. Oh, yeah, there's that money, baby. Lots of money coming in. So they're going to strengthen domestic terrorism prevention. They're going to highlight resources, create partnerships, create a one-stop website. Probably cost $50 billion. They're going to have a suicide prevention hotline and more digital literacy programming to combat online disinformation and DT recruitment narratives. They're going to channel funding, look at this, towards digital literacy programming. What the heck does that even mean? Someone should send it to that congresswoman who can't read Cash's book. The intended impact is going to create coordination between local offices to address threats, right? It's just paying off their hacks all over the place under the guise of stopping terrorism. The US government wants to prevent domestic terror acts, and we're going to share information about this. We're going to create multilateral fora, whatever that means, to address terrorist content online. So they're going to create like little chat groups, like little working teams, and we're going to engage with the United Nations. Look at all these organizations. Oh, makes you sick. Global Counterterrorism Forum, the Connect 5 Country Ministerial Team, Justice Home Affairs Ministerial. I don't know any of these people. And we're going to make specific requests to counter terrorism and online radicalization. Yeah. Okay. Look, I'm for not being attacked by terrorists in America, but none of this was about actual terrorism. They weaponized this against us. They called us harmful and dangerous on this channel via YouTube. And we know that YouTube was getting pressure from the White House and guys like Rob Flaherty over there. So they're going to ensure screening and vetting processes are considering the full range of threats and more. And so you see the list, right? This came out. This was being used to attack all of us every single day. And now we're seeing the truth about it. So Kash Patel and Pam Bondi were out this morning. They were announcing a major operation to go after the child predators, which is a huge problem that the Biden administration overlooked. They just enabled hundreds of thousands of children to come across the border and be trafficked off into oblivion. A sick situation that is now being corrected. Here's what Kash said about it today.
Our children. If you harm our children, you will be given no sanctuary. There is no place we will not come to hunt you down. There is no place we will not look for you. And there is no cage we will not put you in should you do harm to our children. The prioritization of this administration and General Bondi has made it abundantly clear to child predators, you will be hunted down and you will be prosecuted. And that is a refreshing thing to hear for the men and women who do this work tirelessly. And it's also an acknowledgement of the safety that we look forward to bringing America.
All right. And it is good to see some progress in that development, in that role. And this morning on the Membo stream, we heard a clip of Pam Bondi saying that they're digging into the Epstein files and they have thousands of videos of, they say, Epstein with other people, other underage kids, which is horrible. So we're hopeful we see more coming from them, but it's nice to see Kash Patel out front and center and slamming it back against the Democrats. Hopefully more will be coming soon.